Okay, hi there. I welcome you to this video in which I would like to comment on a game between EM International Master Pribelszky and Angelika Valkova that was played at the 6 days September IM group in Budapest on the 27th of September 2024. Why I'm doing it? You will find out within this video why I'm doing it in English and all the story around it. You will find out in a second. So this is Angelika now at the board, and I don't have the intro video, so you have to put up with it. It is also kind of it's a setup that she provided to me and which we used during the live broadcasting. So now here comes the story. It was Angelika here sitting at the board in kind of a critical position, what we can find out at other moments here, and I'm gonna show you the game in a second. It had been recorded, so it was a live broadcasting that I've done via her channel on Twitch on this same day, starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was the 6th round in the 6th day September, against the strong international master Pribelszky, who had a rating of 2409, I think, and she's rated like 2068. She only won half a point. Maybe you noticed that she's kind of sick. I spoke to her in the morning, or we connected via Discord and talked a little bit, or wrote a little bit, and she had a cold. She picked up a cold and so on, so she was not quite comfortable in this morning. Still, the game was deserved and a lot more credit than I gave to her during the game. That's why I'm also recording this video, because I didn't do this so well during the broadcast. Okay, here I can even make this a lot bigger actually. And okay, so let's dive into the game that I can show you here. One more thing to it. It was Sebastian Swoboda who was joining me during the commentary for these 4 hours or so. The game went. It's in the middle of the night. We are going to record the 7th round again. And I've not done her justice. What more? There were a couple of more things that I wanted to mention. Maybe I'm going to find out during the analysis. So he went knight f3, and that was also what she told me about, what she will expect, and she was preparing with a coach, and maybe what I recommended or suggested to go for. Of course, she didn't pay so much attention to it. I don't even know how to flip the board here, actually. Rotate board, reload board, no, this I do not want. Well, anyway, it's her sitting behind black pieces, actually. Okay, so it was knight f3, had been played. She replied with a move d5, which was most likely prepared. He went for c4, and she went for e6 in the first place, and after g3, she pushed the pawn here. And of course this must have been preparation, and there is a very principal approach, and like e3 in this position, which he also went for and played. And now I proposed like a couple of moves here, not bishop c5 but c5, and maybe now transposing into a kind of reverse Blumenfeld gambit, where the move g3 that white has extra is maybe not so helpful for white. But someone pointed out in the chat that maybe the transformation into a Ben-Oni would be a bigger worry, because here the tempo is missing already on the black side, and also the move e5 could cost another tempo black, so there would be 2 moves down, which would really be serious. So knight c6, and most likely it had been preparation. So he hit the pawn here, and now he went for bishop g2. So this, and we checked this, or Sebastian did during the broadcast. He said about this position. There are plenty of games being played still with this position in the master database, and bishop c5 is one of the moves, and of course trying to stabilize here with c5, after which you still have to decide in case white takes, if you want to recapture with a pawn or with a queen. So bishop c5, after which I may have pointed out that b4 could be a possibility. Sometimes you have to worry about it. It's never any real danger here for black, because you would always have this option, after which the game goes on. So it's no win, no loss. There could be the move queen d4, which threatening checkmate here, after which maybe the queen could get into trouble, and black most likely wouldn't wish to play like that. But there's this move as well. And also, as I think Sebastian may have pointed out, that after this queen b4, knight c2, the queen would even drop here, so you can't pick up the piece. And so b4 may not be the worry at all for black. Of course, white went for castling in the first place, and now knight f6 had been played, and here, I mean, I can show some pictures. So she's here at the board, and she's yawning, or maybe sneezing, or sniffing, or what is it? I don't know, during the game, so not quite comfortable here. And this is kind of a critical position in which she has to move here, and she had the better time throughout the game. Here she had 25 minutes left, although it was a critical position, and her opponent had just 5 minutes left. So, but we will get there in a second. Anyway, the move knight f6, her coach, who was also online during our broadcast, he said he didn't like so much, and maybe, I mean, I also said that maybe you would wish to stabilize this square with the moves knight e7 or knight e7 c6 or knight e7 to f5, and he didn't like knight f6 so much, so maybe she left her preparation here, or they didn't go any further here, so she was left on her own. Anyway, the move, and I was somewhat critical somewhere during the broadcast, but I found out that all the moves were actually quite okay that she played. And we will see this in a second. And that's also part of the reason why I record this video. And bishop d7, she went after long thought, and after some thought, let's say. And instead, of course, castling was the obvious move, which was still played. Now, I was wondering why she thought for such a long time for such an obvious decision. But the move bishop d7 definitely has its pedigree, or its upsides, and more than that, even more than that. I still wouldn't like the move so much, but she spent the time wisely. That's what I would like to point out, because there is, of course, this kind of pawn sacrifice we will see in a minute. Why I didn't like the move so much is it's giving white the option maybe even to play knight e5, or he can continue quite regularly, or what you would call normal. But on the other hand, there is the point to solve the problem with the bishop right away. So white just couldn't sit still and wait, because this bishop c6 move is in the air. But there would be the chance to go knight e5 right away for white, after which, of course, he's giving kind of partly up the control over the d4 square, which is a critical square, and white would like to have some power or take control over the square. But knight e5 would trouble the bishop, and maybe c6. I mean, you have this pressure down here, and moves like rook b8 or giving up the pawn do not make so much sense. And bishop c6 also looks very. The bishop is strong, and the pawn's structure is shattered. So what else could be the move than this move? And now, well, white wouldn't control the square anymore, but maybe still black could be okay here. But I wouldn't have given it this option, but this Pribelszky went for he decided to pick up the pawn, which was okay from my point of view. And we had some viewers in the chat that check the engine lines here and there. I can't remember here, but sometimes you notice as well that these are most likely engine lines. But I didn't like her decision so much because I thought, or I said during the broadcast, that after this, if she recaptures this pawn, which should be the idea, I would consider that after knight d2, you have to worry about this rook, because after knight and queen coming here, maybe now, well, there's no way to back up actually, well, whereby it depends where the bishop goes. So, but anyway, this rook would get into trouble this way or that way, so you wouldn't wish to leave it there. So the rook would most likely slide back here instead of castling, and then white could go for d4 right away and then play knight b3, and I would consider this position as favorable for white, especially with these, well, there's just one pawn island here, while black has these two weak pawns, and he won't be able to push c5 for the time to come. And so I would think white is better here. This is another option that white would have had here in the game, which I would have preferred. On the other hand, the move queen f3 that was played looks like pretty logical, because white wants to preserve the extra pawn that she gave to him. And here you must say that maybe this was what her calculation was based upon. Otherwise, you win back the pawn, which is fine, but maybe favorable to white still. But in this position, we can see her moving, because this picture may not be the nicest one, or if it stays like that. It's better if she keeps moving. I was suggesting the sequence castles, after which knight c3 seems to be the main move for white. You want to bring out your pieces, you can't move the bishop. After which I thought queen e8 would be a strong move all of a sudden, which I found out. So in this position here, I think that c6 is a serious threat even to white, because this bishop can't move. Bishop f4 wouldn't help, because there's e5, but also, well, c6 wouldn't work maybe, but you could still consider to pick up the bishop. But after this, this pawn would be falling, but or the exchange, but you would get some counterplay. But after e5, it looks like black is absolutely comfortable here. So queen e8. After queen e8, I thought even a move like this might be forced. Is it? No. After, well, the bishop had to drop back right away, right? Because of this threat here. And after which, anyway, black would always be comfortable, even if he just traded here and there, because you don't want to, well, this is an extra pawn, but it's not such a healthy one, and you get some trouble down this diagonal with the queen maybe coming in as well on the white squares. So this seems to me like a fairly decent option, but her decision was no worse, I have to say. So I was a bit critical about this, which I shouldn't have been. Of course, I meant that bishop f4 has to be worked out well. But if she did so, it's like perfect, because it's setting up even a trap. After e5, when you think rook e1, white is fine. But after queen c7, the bishop is in trouble. This bishop is in trouble after castles. This pawn is in trouble here. The rook is in trouble. So it seems like black is even winning here. So I was critical, but the move is, I think it's pretty good that she played. And after which white still went for knight c3. I have to check out if I'm still in the game or if I lost the game somewhere. I made so many analysis here that you can't see maybe, because I'm just scrolling through the moves here. Hang on, where are we? It's the queen e2, bishop e4, knight c3. This is the game, yeah. And she went for queen b6. Here we once again were a bit critical, also with our coach, who is Julia Papp, and he also made available those pictures, the camera, and Queen C7 for the reason that after the bishop retreats, at some point, this is a threat with a queen on C7. If the knight moves, this is a threat, and with a queen on B6, it's not. But we will get there in a second. So this is the difference with queen. Although it seems to be more pressure on the pawn on B2, it is less pressure maybe. So after bishop E4, she wisely castled, but still the compensation, I was like, it's always there, this opportunity to take here and there. After this, you wouldn't be worried about this extra pawn, which white is up. And after queen E4, you would also not be worried as black, because you have this compensation with the opposite colored bishops and this diagonal. So, but her decision was even better, because white can't escape here from this possibility. And well, white did go for knight E2, after which bishop B2 was not a possibility because of rook B1 here. This is the difference between queen C7 and queen B6. So she had to opt for knight E4 in this position. Bishop E4, hang on, he had to move his queen, because there's no better move. You can't move the bishop. Rook B1 doesn't work because this is unprotected on B1, so it would drop a whole piece, and there are no better moves. You have to worry for the bishop. And after queen E2, of course, the trade here is possible, but it's also always possible with the interception of a bishop C3, which he didn't go for, which I may have criticized, but I would rather praise it by now. And after this, as I mentioned already, this black wouldn't be worried about at all. The diagonal might still become weak at some point, because those are the weaknesses here around the white king, and this extra pawn can't be of so much meaning, especially if it's also restricting the own bishop. And this pawn could also be weak at some point to be attacked by the bishop, but this is also a weakness, kind of, if white attacks it. But anyway, this wouldn't nothing be to worry about. And also after queen E4, diagonal remains open, and this means maybe I can go back somewhere to this position here. No, it's not. Well, this was, I think the video here is from the critical stage of the game, but we can leave this put in here. Anyway, she went for the option to take the bishop right away. So this was very good play by her up to here, because when I said she should trade here and not be worried, after which the white had no better move than this, after which she had the same option still and has already castled. So she won like a move with this move order, and there was no better move than queen E2. But if she would have gone for this, it would have been fine. But if she trades here, it's even an attempt I would consider to go for a win, which I would, as I said that during the broadcast, if this is serious and she attacks like this 2400, and maybe this is what I wanted to show you. Now I remember at least that I wanted to show you that I worked out with my own ELO calculation system, which also works out the probability for a draw based on the time control, the ELO difference, the total ELO points, because it's a difference if 1600 plays against 1300 with a 300 point difference, compared to much higher ratings where the probability for a draw rises because the errors are limited, and so it's more likely to become a draw. But still, she had, like, just with the way that I worked it out, 2.35% for a win. This is also taking into account the white and black problem, which is not addressed in the ELO formula. But here white has like 84.5 or 0.7%, 12.9% for a draw, and 2.35% for a win for her, which is, well, my calculation, but it sounds very reasonable to me. And especially, I mean, so she should be, I mean, her winning chances are low, because with the black pieces, it's of course a lot more difficult to win against such a high-rated opponent. And here she decided to go for a win, and the draw was a 12% chance. Maybe, well, she could have bailed out maybe at some point, go for a draw. So, but I would of course praise it or recommend it, even to say, well, try to win if you get the chance. But she was not comfortable. So anyway, well, now she followed up with the move bishop c6, and this was a move that we really I criticized in the stream, and maybe rightly so, because here was the opportunity to go for f5 right away, and after any knight move, if the knight goes here, that's where I spotted the move, of course, but it's pretty obvious to go for f4. But after any other knight move, this is also an option. And if you consider it, dangerous or something like that, there is, after bishop f4, there's e5. So, and if this, well, you can't capture because of rook e8. And if you retreat with the bishop to cover up b2, I don't know, but there would be the chance to go for these light squares here, but this may not have been the best option that I went for here. Maybe black should start with the move h6, or even with a move e5 in this position, and which leaves this one impossible to avoid, and so on. And those attacking units that black gathers here seem to cause like serious problems. And someone in the chat said during the broadcast that black is even, we are fine, it's equal plus, so it's even black a tiny little bit better in this position. I don't know if it's exactly this position, but the point about preferring this move over bishop c6 is especially that I don't want to block out the queen from the attacking possibilities. And so bishop c6 was like maybe the first time we really had to criticize the play, because here it is just a perfect setup for black, and it's pawn down. This is a strong bishop. Here is this pressure, there's this pressure, and so on. And this is still undeveloped, and this is a good bishop, definitely, which was a problem somewhere, but now this problem is completely solved. And after f5, and someone, I think her grandmaster coach, Julia Papp, said she's going to push up the pawn, because maybe he knows her, but this was the time to do so. And then even, well, with all these possibilities. And this is what she should have gone for. But bishop c6 still was by far not the end of the game. But there was a chance even to get a real edge in this position. And so it was a wise decision even not to go for the trade here, and this trade, trade this knight first and then this bishop, which we had a couple of these in this position. She could have traded here and then here, which may have given her equal chances with a very good chance for a draw. But it was a good decision, actually, or objectively speaking. And here, after knight e4, bishop c6 may have been a mistake, but the game was far from over after this. But we still should consider it a critical moment here. After knight g5, she even, we thought she would instantly go for e5, which still looks like pretty very decent actually for her. So although I would have preferred the queen here, maybe there's still time even for such a maneuver or something like that to trouble down this diagonal with a very simple setup, queen in front of the bishop here or here. So this could still be fine, but what she went for was h6 in this position, and maybe this was trying for a bit too much, but it may still have been fine. I think we considered like this should be the way to go for white, and after this knight f7, I mean, this just simply can't work for her really well. Maybe she meant to play king g8, which I analyzed for a second, after which the knight is kind of trapped. There is this chance to go for this, after which, well, black could allow a perpetual, but maybe even try for more with this line, because white has 7 pawns against two of them left, but still this bishop is giving white a headache here. Anyway, I don't know if this was kind of the intention of this move, and I don't know how they went on calculating here, and I don't know what the best lines are. And maybe, well, is there 96? I'm not sure. But of course, this was a very, very brave decision to go for h6. But white didn't pick up the pawn, which I can't really, I mean, I don't know how to judge, but it looks like trying for a bit too much. He went for knight f3, so maybe this was still justified, and maybe this was still the chance to go for e5, after which it still could be that black is absolutely fine. I mean, if he trades here, you of course you can look at any of these two moves, but e4 seems to be in the air. I mean, there could be kind of a race coming with these moves here, but as I pointed out already, but these center pawns, or even f4 in this position, also looks very, very dangerous for white in a certain sense, right? I mean, there's still this pawn hanging and so on, but let's say e5 may still have been fine after this. This, well, is still the way here, and because this, it seems to me I was just wrong about this, because queen e5 would more or less seal it here, I'm afraid. So, but anyway, she went for after knight f3. She went for bishop f6, which still looks like a okay decision, because also the engine, which was seems to be turned on somewhere, said it was fine. But after queen e6, they all said rook f7, or they said rook f7 is the only move. That's what her coach said. I was pretty sure that she's going to play king h8, after which the game still goes on. But rook f7 has some serious advantages over this. It's, first of all, it is placing pieces on light squares. It's keeping the king on a light square. Self-pinning the rook doesn't seem to be the way to go, but you have to trade here anyway, because white doesn't have a much better move than knight e5. Otherwise, the rook is going to come. The white knight doesn't have any squares at all. I mean, you wouldn't go, well, somewhere back here, but anyway, the black pieces would come all over white here. Even the queen is in some trouble. Queen f5 would never be a real option. Bishop d4 or something like that. So anyway, rook f7. After rook f7, in this position, white would have no better than knight e5, I think, after which the rook is attacked. After bishop e5, queen e5, there could still be f4 at some point, and then the rook is better placed here than on f8 with the king on h8. But this is the only difference with rook f7 compared to king h8. And of course, she didn't go for the self-pin, which means you wouldn't do it because you think maybe white does have other options than knight e5. Otherwise, you would do it. And if you spot that there is no better move than knight e5, then you would go for rook f7, I think. And she thought for a while, but still went for king h8 then in the long run. And maybe you see the king here in this picture already on h8, but it's a few moves on. And now still white went for knight e5 in this position. After rook f7, the black chances seem to be okay, but I was quite happy with this decision as well. After this, now you have to trade, which would be the same after rook f7. You always have to trade here because there are too many threats around. So anyway, she traded here. She went with the rook here, which was absolutely fine. And after queen c3, now maybe we criticized bishop c6, which was maybe justified because we blocked out our queen, but all these nervy moments here went by okay for her. This pawn sacrifice and so on, which was a bit maybe trying for a bit too hard, but white didn't accept the the challenge here with the queen e6, which I don't know how the engine assessed it. But here it was still fine, I think, and now, so maybe there was even a better chance to be better, and here maybe it's just equal, I don't know. Well, I checked the engine at some point, because I said after f4, I would still consider the black position fine. So I don't know why they were complaining about her setup in general. And I was, of course, I have to take back my words, or eat my words, or whatever you say, because I said bishop c6 was wrong, and now I say I take team black because they are still fine. And which is, in a certain sense, still justified. And after, you have to go for f4, I think, and the lines went like this, that I worked out, and even someone checked with the engine. After this, there is a move bishop f3, which sets up kind of an unstoppable mate threat here, and I saw the move f5, and after which I thought rook e6 is going to win the game, and after pawn capture, queen takes, there's no way to stop queen g4, and if the rook moves, can go here or there, and after this one it's still a checkmate here. After queen g1, king d2, queen f2, it's still a checkmate, and after rook d1, which leaves the escape square for the king, so in this line it would not be checkmate, the king could go here, but it would still be kind of fairly decent chances after this move, because there's this, or bishop going back. I don't know how the engine evaluates this position, but it would still look fine. But then someone pointed out that the engine here showed a clear win with the move queen d8, which is of course an obvious move to spot, but you think you would like to come over here. And rook e6 was a fine spot, after which actually rook e6 does not work, is what the engine said, because now you can, well, instead of picking up the rook, you can move your own rook, and the position may be fine. So after this, it really is a win for black, or it's okay. But after, if the white does not capture the rook, but this is, all of this is engine stuff, I would say. But there is a better move, queen d8, after which queen d5 is unstoppable. And if there wasn't f6, and after f6, gf6, there's still the G file is opened, after which the white king won't live much longer. I don't know how to say it. But anyway, it looks like a killing attack. But the engine gives all the answers. Why is the bishop not moving? Oh, now it does. Anyway, it was a kind of a, after f4, it looked as if the engine still approves that black is okay. So if I was still critical even in this video now about this move with bishop c6, if the position is 5 moves down the line still okay for white, then I shouldn't be critical. And anyway, so this is where we ended, and here she played bishop f3, and this gave white the chance to play d4, which he instantly took, but still the engine said somewhere here it was still okay if black would have gone for bishop e4. And here's the final mistake. So even if we say, oh yeah, no, don't go bishop f3, right? This is a mistake here. But it was still fine after this, I think. And even with f4, black would have had the upper hand. And after bishop f3, d4, this is what happened in the game. You have to go bishop e4. That's someone with the engine once again spotted. Or you can say, well, what else would you do than attack a rook? But still there's, of course, dc5. After queen g6, the bishop has to come out because you can't move the rook anymore, because there's still f4 or all kinds of, well, maybe even the queen coming in, I don't know, but f4 looks like the move. But white would have to go bishop f4, after which it still looks pretty airy around the white king, but maybe it is okay for them. But it still was like, you can pick up, of course, the exchange now. After bishop e4, dc5, queen c6, bishop e3, you may have to take here, and even then still go f4. But maybe, of course, in this we see another difference. If the rook would have been here and this here, it would have been much better set up. because, well, it's safer king. But here it still could be okay for black, kind of. I mean, how many pawns? He's got like 3 pawns for the exchange, but still it looks a bit, I mean, here would be the move g5, that's what I was referring to. Anyway, here, this was the, after bishop e4, black may still be kind of okay, although it feels to me as if white would be already better, but she went for bishop e2 in this position, which was also attacking rook, but this was the better way to go, also keeping the bishop maybe in some lines active on the, which is, it's not on e2. And after dc5 she went for queen g6. Now bishop f4 was of course the move that white play, is to stop f4, and the bishop is a bit misplaced now, and now she went rook e4, which was the best solution here, which also Chet informed me about, which the ancient proposed, but I would say after, well, if you hit instead, then you just lost, because these pawns are too strong now, and the counterplay with f4 is blocked for now. Even g5 is impossible with the queen here, so he needed to waste another tempo, after which maybe those pawns are getting too strong anyway, and there's no real attack anymore. So after this in the game, rook e4 was still the best option. White went for rook e1, and now someone pointed out in the chat that you have to put all your pieces on the white squares and still attack here, and it's still kind of playable, because you got this option. White saved his rook, which maybe was the best option. You can still try for this, but black will definitely have some chances here, whereby the queen can't go here because the rook is en prise. But anyway, she went for rook e4, he went for rook e1. Now she picked up the pawn, which is understandably a decision, because you say, well, if I get another one, then maybe I can hold it to a draw. Now I thought queen b3 was the way to go, but it was, oh, there's always rook f4, but rook f4 was not the worry here. I think it was just the rook going back, and I'm not sure now. And he went for queen d2, which I also thought was a decent decision, but after this she went for bishop f3, which would have been impossible after queen b3. So it still looks like dangerous for white, but now he's getting some activity here with his own queen and rook, which yeah, wouldn't have been allowed otherwise if she would have gone for the straight attack here a couple of moves ago. Now there's only this one move, going back with the queen, and you only go backwards, right? The white pieces are coming in, but now rook f6 seemed to be the only way to go. After queen d8, king h7, rook e8 was already setting up a mating threat. Someone said there's still queen f7, which was before those moves had been played, and she went for queen f7, which is the only fair way to stop this checkmate. And white is still not perfectly winning here, because it's still this pawn under, well, under fire. The king is still not quite comfortable, and the black king, well, on g6 it may not be perfect, because you would like to have your queen coming in here, but it's still pretty safe. And how to avoid the loss of this pawn, maybe before, but this rook could get into trouble somewhere. But anyway, the move was queen f7, and now he went for rook e7, which I'm not sure was the best move, but he spent his time wisely. He went down to 2 seconds at some point, so it was still some excitement here around this, and maybe we see this position here somewhere. Yeah, this was when she spent like 20 minutes in this position, but she was about to move here, and now she was ready to grab her rook and move it up to f6, and we are a bit further now. He gave her the chance to go queen h5, after which he played bishop e5, and here she went for a rook g6, and maybe there was, well, what was, yeah, there was of course this threat. Now he turned the tables with getting an attack on the black squares, because this is on black, this is on black, and so on. And so rook g7 was, she had like a black scare, he had like a black squared attack now. And so bishop e5, she went for rook g6, which may have been a mistake, I'm not sure, but it seems like, well, the end is near. Rook c6 now was the only way, I think. No, rook e6, that was what we were speculating about, because after rook takes here, there's still queen h3, and I think there's no rook h6, or is there? Well, there is rook h6, of course, but I'm not sure if this is, first of all, this is a checkmate here, or is it? This is checkmate, and after king g5, it leads to draw, but bishop, this may be checkmate as well. Yeah, it seems like a checkmate, but of course the queen can take, but after this the mating threat is. Now we see some moves, right? He went for rook d8, rook e8, and she went for queen f7. But in this position, maybe white is fine. But still, we speculate about rook e6, which was, we thought, must have been her attention. Or was I wrong in this line? Rook e6, what did I just analyze? Oh, rook e6, yeah. This may be the way to go, because I thought this in the first place. After this, it really does look fine, because you're threatening mate yourself, and I thought maybe bishop g7 in this position, because you can't go here because of rook h6, and if you take this, there's queen something and so on, so it might be some real trouble for, yeah, for the black king, right? Anyway, so maybe bishop g7 would have finished the game. So anyway, she went for rook c6, after which maybe this same option is on, but he went for, oh no, he went for rook e7. He went for rook e7, right? And after she went here, and rook went back, and now we thought rook e6, she went here, and now, well, now we start the race king of the hill, right? And of course, this is one more point to show this game. After this, rook g7 can't really be parried. There's no way to get the attack going. So f4 is the only way to get an escape square here on the white squares. And he went for queen e8, which gives the additional option of trading queens. But after this, he went for rook f8, sending up the king up the board. After this, of course, if you move the bishop, the queens can still be traded, but it's still winning for. So if the bishop takes here, black can trade, maybe hope a little bit. But after this, of course, white took with the rook. King went up, so this is our final destination here, right? King of the hill. He went for queen d7, king c2, rook c4, and king b1. And now the video is over, and also my video is over here. He picked up, she hit the rook, and I think it was the last move. It was also move 40. He was like a couple of times on 1 second or 2 seconds when he made his move. Pretty cool. But now queen d3. Now I thought even we should add a new variant to the game. King to the corner, opposing corner of the game. I mean, doesn't have some kind of aesthetic. Even if he goes here, she can still hit the bishop. The check is avoided. Of course, white can checkmate like this. I don't know if he would have done this. Yeah, is this checkmate? Yeah, it is. But I don't know. Queen a3 is also a mate purely on white's on. So white would have the aesthetical finish to have all his pieces on black squares when, well, black has a couple of exceptions. But anyway, it was the end of the game. It was move 41 now anyway. So the game was over for sure. Although I heard they don't get any extra time. I mean, this was okay so far for this video. I had these common 45 minutes, and yeah, wonder about the setup and so on. But I hope, and my bad English in a certain sense, when I'm lost for words somewhere. Anyway, it's 45 minutes. Thanks a lot for watching if you did, and bye bye. See you soon, I hope.